This video is in response to Sheryl WuDunn's Our Century's Greatest Injustice. She started talking about a girl family who wanted to pull her out of school for the $13 school fees that they had to pay for her to attend school because it was too much money for their family when all that she was going to do was go work in the rice fields, which was the typical tradition of their culture. She ended up being one of the best pupils in her classes, though, and so people were trying to figure out a way that they could keep her in school, and so she could continue educating herself. Um, it's usually very rare to get an investment in girls' schooling because they see that it's a waste of time, or they just will need to be in the home carrying out the chores or the daily tasks. Um, She ended up getting enough donations though, and up to $10,000 for the school in general to continue her education, and she followed through and ended up being one of the top students and graduated from college as well, and she was able to get a scholarship to attend college. Sheryl mentioned that once she was able to educate herself, she was able to also change her surroundings and the different aspects of her life, not only with herself but also with her family. Sheryl also mentioned that in the 19th century, the biggest issue we had was slavery, and in the 20th century it was totalitarianism, and now it's the oppression of women and girls. So we have kind of gone through the different phases and have hopefully progressed through the different trials we've had. It is shown that women do live longer than men at this current time, but she also mentioned that almost 60 to 100 million are missing females in our population, which I thought was kind of interesting because I think that there are more women currently in our world today, which she says that they're missing. In India, she mentioned that 50% of girls die, so they have a 50% higher mortality rate in India. And a lot of the reason for poverty is because certain areas are overpopulated, and they just don't have enough money or the tools to educate people. As she went on to talk about the different areas and different ways they've educated people, she mentioned that once they started educating girls, these girls were having less kids, and then they also spent money more wisely, because she mentioned that the men, when they would get the money, would spend the money on drugs or beer or prostitution, and they just wouldn't use their money wisely, and it would end up hurting their families and the women in their lives in the end. Sheryl also said that women and girls aren't the problem, they can be the solution, which I think is a very good thing because women do have a lot of great skills that they can contribute to society, but I also think it is very important for women to be in the home, but to be educated so they can carry out the things that they need and be able to participate in their society. Sheryl also mentioned that sex trafficking is really big outside of our borders as well. Then that almost 800,000 girls are sex trafficked. The slave cost back then, what it would be today, is about $40,000, and for every girl that is trafficked is only a couple $100, and which is really sad, but they are less disposable. They are more disposable than slaves are, and we just really need to work on changing that. She said also that one woman dies about every 1 minute and a half from childbirth because they don't have the necessary resources that they need. Many women come from poor and rural areas, and that kind of doesn't give them the benefit because of those reasons, and also because they are female. When we educate our families, we are able to carry out more things and to change our surroundings and change the way of our life. And every little bit of help does count, and it can be transformative in many different ways. Um, we Sheryl mentioned that once we as humans have our material needs met, which most of us do, especially compared to other countries, that in order to be happy and kind of have that self-efficacy, you need to contribute to a cause larger than ourselves, which is what we can do for these other countries. Um, a lot of these countries don't have what we do, and our material needs are met plus so much more, and so we can always help those around us. And Sheryl also on her last note mentioned with great fortune comes great responsibility. And so we all need to have the responsibility to take care of those around us and to be able to make others happy as well, and to figure out those injustices and be able to work through them and progress as a society and a country. And yeah, that's it.